So thank you very much, Your Eminence. Thank you for that message and the encouragement and also the challenge of our gathering in these days. We thank you for the greeting from the Holy Father, and we hope that you will also greet him from us and acknowledge first of all his greeting, but also perhaps show our appreciation for the courageous witness that he shows in championing those who are the poorest of the poor, not least the migrants and refugees whom you referenced. Now we're delighted to have His Eminence and His Grace with us later for the Eucharistic celebration. So just when we're on that point, could I point out that we will gather for Mass, for our Eucharistic celebration, in the main square, unless the weather changes very badly. We will all gather in the main square and we will process to the college chapel. There will be the sacristy and other room available for priests who wish to concelebrate and to vest before Mass. In terms of practical points, I know it can be difficult in those first hours, especially when you arrive, to get oriented in a strange place and perhaps different language. There are helpers around who are some of our students and staff who are wearing t-shirts or other uniforms to depict that they're there to help. So please do feel free to use their services to find out where things are, or if you have any difficulties. Ireland prides itself on being a country of welcome. We mean that, and therefore we mean you to use our services to make your stay here a little bit more pleasant, enjoyable. There's no question too silly, no question too small to ask. Please do, if you have any difficulties, let us know, and we will try to address them for you as quickly as possible. You know, all of these General Assemblies have points of continuity and discontinuity because we are a body that changes. We fulfill our mandate as presidents or rectors, and we move on. And therefore there are new faces, but there are also old faces. There are points of linkage, and there are things which are new. I have to say that thought there a little bit as President Michael was referencing our history as a college, that it's wonderful to have that linkage with Melbourne, because I'm delighted to see Vice-Chancellor Craven with us and his team from Australia. Because last 3 years ago we had the privilege of being there for the General Assembly, and just in that very city, a previous president of this institution became Archbishop, so Archbishop Manock. So there's a lovely point of continuity between two General Assemblies, and it's wonderful to be able to pick up the baton from that wonderful experience in Melbourne. And of course, when we were there, one of the great faces of IFCU for many, many presidents and rectors over many, many assemblies was, of course, Monsignor Guy-Réal, who was the General Secretary for quite some time, and was more or less the face of IFCU-FIUC, and quite a difficult role to replace easily because of his extraordinary presence and his extraordinary experience in that role. So it's my pleasant duty now simply to introduce the man who did have the courage to step up and to become the Secretary General of IFCU, and that is my colleague Franc ois Mabille. And Francois is Director of the International Research and Decision-Making Center, a former Professor of Political Science at the Université Catholique de Lille, and Statutory Researcher on Societies, Religion and Secularism Group of that National Center for Scientific Research, CNRS. And he started his career back at the Institut Catholique in Paris in 1998, where he actually founded a research center on peace with Joseph Maïla, and thus contributing to the introduction in France of the peace research movement. And again, in his perspective, in 2000, he founded the Faculty of Social Sciences and economics, or rather at that faculty, he founded a master's degree in international solidarity and action, of which he was in fact director until 2005. Francois was Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences and Economics for 5 years, during which were created, among other things, the Masters in Economic Intelligence, Masters in Political Science, Masters in Social Economics, and Masters in Environmental Sciences, and also the first ever university diploma for the training of religious dignitaries, indeed imams and future imams. So that we've got a man here who has an extraordinary experience of working not only from within our own faith tradition, but indeed with people from other faith traditions. In 2010, Franc ois Mabille joined the Université Catholique de Lille, where he now teaches international relations at the Faculty of Law. He created the chair in 2011 on social stakes and prospective, which he is the holder, and he took part in various activities of the International Institute of Prospective Innovative Ecosystems, created in 2014. And he's also provided various expertise and documents for the International Organization of la Francophonie and the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He also collaborated for many years with Charles Leopold Mayer Foundation. Now, that's his background, but as I said, it's never an easy task to fill the shoes of someone who has been part of the institution of FIUC and IFCU for so many years. Francois took up that role with a 3-year mandate from September 2016. I have to say that as his colleague, working with him on the Administrative Council, the Conseil d'Administration, he has responded with great energy, but also great creativity and great openness. He has come to his role with a sense of what can we do, how can we serve, how can we make IFCU, FIUC, something which responds to the needs and to the wishes of our global membership. How can we revitalize the mission of FIUC and IFCU? Well, to perhaps share a few of those thoughts with you, and also what we will be doing in these days, let me cease and let me invite Francois himself to come here to the dais and to address us. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Hugues. Monsieur le Cardinal, Excellence, dear President Mulani, dear Connelly, dear rectors, dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you on behalf of IFCU office. I would like to tell you a few words about the main topics of this General Assembly before introducing the inaugural conference. As you know, our General Assemblies are divided in two parts. One part is more academic. You usually work on a specific topic that seems interesting for your universities and for Catholic higher education. The second part is more administrative. Altogether, we analyze 3 years of IFCU activities, and sometimes there is an election process for a new president and a new board. This year, I think that there is a real coherence between these two parts, the academic one and the administrative part. Our academic topic is about the social responsibility of our universities, and during this week, you are also going to elect a new international board and a new president. I would like to propose you to integrate this election process in a broader approach. One, a global reflection about your social responsibility. Second, a global reflection about your social responsibility towards IFCU. And third, a global reflection about IFCU social responsibility as an international instrument for and of your universities in a global and changing higher education landscape. It's not the moment for discussing about IFCU activities and for giving you my assessment about our common work. You will find these elements in our activities report, and we'll discuss about it in a few days. Nevertheless, I would like to ask you very seriously this question. Today, what is the Federation for? As rectors, how do you perceive its activities and services, and how do your universities and academic colleagues perceive our work? Another way for saying that could be, how do you use IFCU as an international instrument serving and helping your universities? The questions which are asked to your universities are also questions for IFCU and its responsibility from local to global levels. According to me, we are facing three main challenges. First, the deep transformations about the role of our universities in our societies. In a word, we can agree for saying that expectations about our universities have changed those last 2 decades. That is the main justification of our topic. Nowadays, key stakeholders are addressing new issues such as sustainability, eco-conscious design, but also ethical interest of jobs, and so the new diplomas that we offer. The second challenge is more prospective. It's about new technologies, artificial intelligence, and their impacts on the educational field, the organization of our campuses, the broader impact on our societies, and more specifically, about the jobs of the future. At IFCU office, much thought has been given to these evolutions and to the future shape of educational environment, and we will find in your bag a specific report about this subject. A few days ago, in a newsletter, the University World News, some colleagues wrote, as the debate about the potential impact of artificial intelligence and automation continues, we are getting used to opposing predictions, either doom-laden predictions of mass unemployment or more positive predictions of a new wave of jobs being created. Although there are no definitive answers yet, automation will clearly have a significant impact on tasks, roles, jobs, and employment. And they conclude, now is the time to be thinking the unthinkable about preparing students and the current workforce for an uncertain future, creating new jobs and businesses, supporting the unemployed in a fair, dignified, and straightforward manner that supports their search for opportunities and funding the transitions from this economy to future ones. The key to all of this is education. The third challenge is quite different. It is about the consequence of a long process. Your universities are living in a competitive field at both national and international levels. There is a global market of higher education with many rankings, but day after day, we can see a process where education and diplomas become more and more commodities and less a common good. Existing universities and even Catholic universities have to compete with each other for ever-dwindling resources, be they financial, human, or intangible. Not all universities have the means to prosper, whether for geographical, historical, political, or financial reasons. And even among Catholic universities, some have real economic or political clout when others are in difficulties. How do we organize solidarity among us at the international level? How do we differentiate ourselves from this approach? I think this is one of the issues raised by the launch of an IFCU repository on the social responsibility of our universities. This social responsibility of our universities, in other words, their community engagement, represents extensions of the educational work of faculty members of universities and integrates activities that are tied to the institution missions to preserve, transmit, and generate knowledge, and that are for the direct benefit of external audiences. Social responsibility and community engagement may include professional activities by faculty, teaching distance education classes, conducting research in the community and broader society, teaching service learning courses that engage students in educational and meaningful community service that benefits the community. So we understand that there is need for objectives that transcends the disciplines. Employers and academicians yearn for students who are able to integrate knowledge, communicate, collaborate, display critical thinking, understand other perspectives, and be active participants in a democratic society. It means that universities must become a partner in the search for answers to our most pressing social, civic, economic, and moral problems, and must affirm their historical commitment to what Ernest Boyer has called the scholarship of engagement. It means also, as Peter de Craig wrote it, that our universities must become transformed institutions that have to be able, one, to adapt to the new nature of knowledge that is characterized by the mobility of knowledge and knowledge workers. Second, the continuous change and transformation of the knowledge base, the growing significance of learning to individuals and enterprises seeking to remain competent and competitive, and finally, the enormous pressures to make knowledge productive in the economic, social, and civic spheres. All these challenges oblige us to think in new ways, to mobilize our intellectual traditions, to be creative in order to reflect about the specificities of our Catholic identities. But as those challenges are global, international, I think that our universities, your universities, need a global space for thinking about these evolutions. It's up to you to decide if IFCU can be this space of dialogue, creativity, and advocacy. And I hope that it is in this perspective that you will live these days. I mean your common reflection about your social responsibilities and our common responsibility all together in IFCU, including your understanding of what means the election process. I thank you. Alors, je vais maintenant appeler deux personnes pour